What's crack-a-lackin' literary geeks? Happy Tuesday. I have a very strong eyebrow going on and a questionable light source. So we'll see how this video goes. I was supposed to film and put up something else, but then as I was editing it last night, realized that I hated it. So this video is what's going up instead. I don't know how this is gonna go either, but I have an urge to rant about something that's been on my mind lately. So without further ado, let's get into it. As I'm sure many of you have, I have fallen prey to falling down many a rabbit hole on this wonderful app called TikTok. And honestly, BookTok is poppin'. Like, it knows all the new releases. There's some really fun tags, but seeing as I've been cycling through the tags lately, I've noticed that, of course, for every platform there's gonna be a lot of books that a lot of people happen to like that are recommended over and over again. Everybody likes Leigh Bardugo and Sarah J. Maas and Cassandra Clare, and no one's surprised if these make all of the top 10 wrap-up books of the year or what have you. I've noticed that there's a lot of books over and over again on TikTok that are all this kind of like either older, young adult, or new adult. Like, BookTok loves Sarah J. Maas, particularly these two series right here. And they also really like this particular book from Jennifer L. Armentrout, along with some of her other ones. And I've seen this author floating around, not for this particular book, but this author, Laura Thalassa, and a couple of other books where the main point of it is that there's some sexy people and they get sexy together, and one of them is probably some kind of supernatural creature. And coincidentally, I myself have been branching out into some new adult and some more romance-heavy books recently to jazz things up in my reading routine. And I feel like after reading the same thing in 10 to 12 books now, I need to address this, and I hope that this audience will at least, I don't know, share what I'm gonna say to other people, and maybe get this on TikTok. Maybe I'll make a TikTok about it. I don't freaking know yet, but just I have a lot of feelings. Abuse isn't sexy. I can't believe I have to say this right now, but I've seen it in so many romance novels, particularly young adult and new adult romance novels, and oh, every red flag trigger that there possibly is being triggered. And I did see an argument, I think also on TikTok, that was someone saying how even if people do read these kind of things that have maybe unhealthy relationship dynamics or some kind of abuse in them, they know that this is not something that would happen in real life, just like they know that they would not date a vampire. They know that they would not be in this kind of situation. And fantasy is fantasy. Like, every part of the book is fantasy, so I can understand where if a, I don't know, dominant fallen angel and a virginal sweet secretary from a law firm fall in love, and he's very possessive and she's very demure and like whatever. Like, I get that that's a lot of people reading that are like, oh, that's not real life, so it's okay. And I'm not saying that if you like the books I just mentioned, or if you are into that kind of power dynamic, that you're bad or like, you know, like you're a terrible person or anything, because like I also happen to like a lot of the fantasy books, you know, I have all the Sarah J. Maas's, all of them, but realizing that 99% of the book TikToks and YouTube videos on these kind of, ooh, sexy YA books or sexy new adult books are all young girls, it just makes me feel it makes me feel weird. And having these topics in these books is not inherently wrong, but I feel like the way that the author is going about presenting them to the audience is not right. For example, we're supposed to like Tamlin until the second book when, oh my god, Reese is like so sexy. But as an older reader, I can look at this and being like, oh, he's being fairly manipulative. And also there's that very weird scene where it was like, I might sexually assault you and it's your fault. Which that's a whole other thing to unpack, but we're supposed to like him and we're supposed to find him attractive, and I don't really like that power dynamic. And in this book we have a ton of slut-shaming for no good reason, and there was never a moment where the character stepped up and said, yes, I like short dresses, and yes, I like sex, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just was weird. And in some of the Jennifer L. Armentrout books, particularly from Blood and Ash, actually Storm and Fury, that one's really good, surprisingly, and she wrote that way before this one, so like what the hell. Blood and Ash has a weird dynamic where the main character alternatively is the coolest, sexiest badass there ever was, and then the demure fainting maiden who needs everybody to save her and can't do anything by herself, which is confusing as it is. But then the male character, while being a protector but also like a warrior in arms, he pushes at her boundaries, and if somebody did that to me, I would snap right away. I guess you could kind of say the same thing about Aquarium, Mist and Fury, where there's Reese like pushing Feyre's boundaries, and it's supposed to be sexy because, oh, he has her up against a wall and, wow, look at that tension. Or a character will set boundaries and then the other character will completely ignore them because they know that person better than they know themselves. And I'm like, okay. And Laura Theless's books are so messed up, and I say this as somebody who read multiple of them because I was like, oh, this one maybe is a bad one or it's an outlier. No, all of her books have a very abusive, some main character who like tortures people or who hits the woman or is just something, but then eventually it's like, oh, but he's just a misunderstood bad boy and he's actually really nice and sweet. No! And the sad part is I get where she was going, and I feel like this happens in a lot of like these fantasy books with a more dominant supernatural main character dude guy who he doesn't really know how to be human and he's very animalistic, and then you know, oh, love saves him and brings him back and, you know, makes him more human and gives him feelings or emotions or whatever, which also is not a good thing to tell young girls, or really anybody for that matter, because you are not a therapist to your significant other. You are their significant other. You don't have the responsibility to save this person. So writers, I need you to stop this. There are many other ways to show conflict other than shouting or sulking. Like, are you a child? Don't even get me started on this whole, like, I'm the female character and I was sexually assaulted, so now I'm a whole new woman. And a lot of these things come with no trigger warnings at the beginning of the book. And as somebody who, you know, it's not, I don't have any deep trauma related to that, thank goodness. But there are places where I've stumbled across it in a book and I'm like, oh, I do not like that. And if I was somebody who maybe had that, that would not be a fun time. And as a writer, you're writing these characters so that they will get together. They are love interests. You want the reader to fall in love with them and then you want them to fall in love with each other. I don't know about you, but I have never fallen in love with anybody who's treated me like crap. I just want to see some nice, lovable love interests who have the main character's best interests at heart and want to be with them, and they trust each other and they're cute together, because that's the point of making a love pairing, is because you want the reader to ship them and you want them to get together. Well, you need them to get together in a healthy way, or acknowledge if it's not healthy. That's kind of the thing where I was like, oh, a lot of these people are getting together in unhealthy ways, and this will, you know, later in the book come to a head, and then they'll realize that they're bad for each other, or one of them will leave. No, it's just that's supposed to be romantic. And I'm like, unless you are slamming someone up against a wall consensually, that is not passion, that is abuse. So, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you like reading these kind of things, that's not wrong. And, you know, hell knows I've read a lot of these things and I liked them. Power dynamics are always going to be a thing in whatever relationship that you're in, and it kind of comes down to consent and if you're okay with that, but I just don't feel like assault and manipulation should be portrayed as romantic. I'm a lot sweatier than I thought I was gonna be. I need my fan. So I want to know what you guys think. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Do you agree with me, or did I just say something slanderous about your favorite author? Writers, please stop writing these abusive and weird power dynamic relationships into your novels. It's not healthy for anybody. Maybe you should go get that checked out or something. I just want two cute people that understand each other's boundaries and build a mutual trust to fall in love and have adventures. Like, is that so hard to ask? Join us at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time here on Sunday for our live chat, and I hope to see you guys all there. Happy reading, happy writing, and have a good week!